Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm your host, Brian, joined with the other host,
Karen.
And what are we talking about for this episode, Karen?
Going to see a couple of cheap shows in Chicago.
Yeah, so this is the first weekend in January. There was a show down at Reggies, Kashmir, Zeppelin tribute band, $15 cover charge. So we were like, no, let's go check it out. If they have tickets, cool, let's get in. If not, oh well. And then the following night was Wraith at Livewire Lounge, a new venue we hadn't been to. Only cover charge of $15. They didn't have tickets or anything pre-sale or anything like that. You just show up and you pay $15. Boom, you get in the door. So 2 shows, $15 each, $30 for each one of us to go and see a show. 2 shows, really.
2 shows, yeah.
And yeah, so we're just gonna chat those up, I guess.
Yeah. Just want to say it was $30 each for the weekend, so $60 total.
Yeah, that's what I meant. $30 each.
Okay,
yeah.
I think you said $30 for both of us to go see 2 shows. So.
Well, yeah, I meant each.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
$30 regardless is still not that bad.
No.
And as mentioned, Kashmir was down at Reggies, which we've been to a lot. Let's just start with that one, I guess.
Okay.
I've been wanting to see a Zeppelin tribute band for some time. Zeppelin 2 comes every year, it seems like, at some point.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was that often, but I don't follow it, so.
They come quite a lot. I see them all the time, I think. Last summer, we didn't end up making it to that show. We went to a show actually at Reggie's at the bar.
That night, yeah.
It was like that.
Heavy Temple or something.
Heavy Temple, right. Yeah, we went and saw that instead.
Yeah.
Because it was something new and it was an actual band, not necessarily a tribute band. I guess the Zeppelin 2 was an actual band too, but...
Yeah, but they play tribute songs.
Yeah,
so,
but this was also closer to us. I was like, all right, let's just go check this out. And we ran into a guy later on who we asked him and we ran into somebody else later on we were talking to, and they went to see Zeppelin 2 back at their place where they lived. It was at another show that we had met them. I think it was the couple from Cincinnati at the Metallica show.
At the Metallica show, yeah.
And we were talking to them about it, and somehow it came up, and like, oh, I really wanted to see that, and we missed it. And they're like, it wasn't that good. And I was like, oh, shit, that sucks. I love Led Zeppelin. I want to see a good tribute band to Led Zeppelin. Fuck, oh well. So here's Kashmir. We were just walking by Reggie's one day, and there's the flyer up there. Like, oh, shit, let's go check this out. $15 Saturday night. We have nothing else going on.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Yeah, let's go do this.
I think at the time that we saw it, we were just walking by and we didn't even have like any concerts in January. So we're like,
I think so. I think, yeah.
Well, there's our one concert for the month sort of thing. Just because January and February in Chicago is a little bit slower for concerts. So
at least for us. Yeah. But yeah, so we went and checked that out. We were walking up, and the first thing I noticed is as you were walking up, they had a big old flyer outside.
Yeah, like a banner, not like a flyer. It was what it reminded me of is like when you go to like either a trade show or like maybe even a Comic-Con, like what the booth has, like that's like just a big vinyl thing.
Yep.
Are they vinyl?
Yeah, I think it's vinyl.
Okay, yeah, like a big stand-up thing to like advertise that they're
like
here.
A 6 foot tall little, I said flyer, but not like a paper flyer, but yeah, just like this giant standing advertisement basically.
Yeah.
Like, basically, I think all it said was, get your official Kashmir merch inside at the merch table. I think that's all it said.
Oh, really? I just noticed it as we like went by, but I didn't like stop and look.
I did stop and look at it. I was like, this is fucking weird. I've never seen this before at like a Reggie show. And then it's like, oh yeah, just get your merch inside. Like, all right, fine, whatever. Probably have to pay the cover to get in anyway.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Like, if you could just go in and be like,
it's just like tricking people. Not necessarily tricking people, but like, come in anyway and see. So it was a cool little idea and thought. We were already going, so we didn't have to. That didn't like bribe us or convince us to go in or not. Yeah. It may have convinced other people to go in.
Maybe.
So
hopefully you know what Kashmir is if you're going inside.
Yeah, exactly. I may have said Zeppelin tribute band. I don't know. I didn't read it that closely. I just remember seeing it and like, oh, this is interesting.
Okay.
Any case, went in. They had their merch there. Pretty sparse merch, if I remember correctly. They had something in like a glass case. I didn't get a good look at it. It felt almost like jewelry-ish.
Okay. I remember walking by and seeing a poster of things you could buy, like not a Yeti cup, but what are those, like the thermal cup, thermos cup, and like a hat and stuff. But I don't remember, honestly. Now that I think about it, I don't remember physical merch sitting there, but I'm sure there was.
There wasn't much sitting there, but I do remember the poster you were saying about. I do remember seeing a poster, which is just their normal flyer.
Oh, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Kashmir.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's not specific to any show
and it had like
tour.
the members in the corner, like the names. I remember that too. Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. It's just the one you see outside of Reggies, and I don't necessarily need that for our poster collection. So unless they blow me away, then we'll stop and pick one up on the way out. And then they had a big sort of banner that you walk by where you get your photo taken done. Like, again, like a Comic-Con or something, they have that with like their logo and everything.
Oh, right.
And you're supposed to stop there, get a photo of you with whoever you're with in front of this.
Like a red carpet type thing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What do they call those?
I don't know, like a backdrop. But with their logo and everything.
Yeah, for some reason, like I think like when you do like not the paparazzi, but like when there's like big events, they call it like the step and repeat or something. Like
I have no idea what it's called, but I know what it is. Like you see the people on the red carpet, they stop and they get all their photos taken right there, and then they proceed into the event.
Step and repeat makes sense because it's like you step, you pose, you step, you pose.
Oh,
like,
I don't know. I've never heard that.
In front of. Really, you've never heard of that?
Never heard that. No.
I don't know where I heard that from,
but yeah, these 3 things: the banner, the merch seemed weird, but also like standard. Yeah. You know, it's merch, like whatever. They brought their own shit, and it's just set up different than I've seen.
Well, and it's weird because that was the only band, so it's like generally there's like 3 bands, or like everybody's like kind of in that one little area when you go inside, and this time it was just them. Yeah.
But yeah, the banner, the sort of advertisement thing outside, and then that banner sort of walk by thing where you get your photo taken. Inside were like the 2 things that I was like, what the fuck is all this? This is weird. Are these guys actually kind of big around the area or something? Like, I don't know. Whatever, let's find out. So that was sort of like, what the fuck is this sort of thing that I was just sort of running through my head. We got there a little after 7, about 7:30 when we got in. Doors were at 7. Show was supposed to start at 8.
Okay. Was it that early? I felt like we only had like 10 minutes before the show was supposed to start.
No, we were there for about a half hour, if not a little bit more.
Okay.
And I only bring that up because the band didn't actually go on until about 8:30.
Yeah, and there was no opener.
No opener.
It was just them.
They kept, I don't know what the fuck was going on.
They kept running back and forth.
They did keep running back and forth.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were having any technical difficulties or anything. It was just sort of like very slow going, and we're going to go at our own pace type thing. Is how it felt.
Yeah.
Which, whatever, it's fine. Like, I've been to shows where, it doesn't start promptly on time, and I'm fine with that. I was going in expecting this to be like a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
With possibly a brief intermission in there as well. I don't know if you were thinking about an intermission or not, personally.
I didn't know about like an intermission. I guess I didn't even think about it, but I mean, we've seen like Thrash of the Titans, who does a 2.5-hour show, and they do like a 10-minute break, or like a small break in between. I mean, it's a long time to be performing for 2.5 hours. So.
Yeah, and they do it really well where they split up the 4 bands, right? You get, I think, like whatever, you get like Megadeth and Slayer at the first half, then Anthrax and Metallica are some sort of mixed in there, and they split it like right in the middle, where it's like, all right, we did our 2 bands. We're going to come back with X and Y.
Right. That's Thrash of the Titans that does that.
Yeah. So I did expect.
I guess there's kind of makes sense. You do 2 bands, you take a little break, and then you do 2 bands. So that makes sense.
But I also expected it to be 2 hours long because the catalog for Zeppelin is super fucking deep.
Yeah.
And everybody loves everything basically from start to finish, with not necessarily all the tracks, but there's hits off of every fucking album.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to sprinkle everything in there. And they did do that toward the middle end part with like a melody aspect. Kashmir did, where they did like a few riffs from a song and then go to the next song and do a few more riffs in the next song.
I didn't know that.
It was like rapid fire, a melody where they just melded it all together.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually expect a melody bit, so that was kind of cool, but also annoying because I was like, just play the whole fucking song, please. They did Dazed and Confused, and they came in halfway through the bass solo where the guitar comes in. It's like, fuck, I want just...
Oh, that's where they started?
Just do the bass part first and then build up to it, but the guitar player was out in the middle of the crowd, so it's like, we're going to keep him out there doing his thing and just go straight into that part of Dazed and Confused.
Was that the second time he came into the crowd?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we didn't really talk about that, but the theatrics of their performance was huge, I would say.
It was, I wouldn't say huge, but yeah, they had a lot of theatrics for sure.
Okay.
Well, I mean, by huge, I was thinking like grandiose.
Oh, no, just like every single song, there was something that the guitarist was doing. That's what I meant by huge.
Oh, yeah, it was like stage antics, I would call them, or something.
Okay,
but
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, so there's one point where he comes out into the crowd and plays with the bow, which I'm assuming...
Yeah, I think Jimmy Page probably did that.
Okay. I don't even know the members' names of the regular Led Zeppelin. So.
Yeah, so it's Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Bonham, and John Paul Jones, I believe. John Paul Jones bass, Robert Plant singing, Jimmy Page lead guitar, and then John Bonham on drums.
Okay. Thanks for the education there.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that going into it. So
I honestly remember all of them except for John Paul Jones, and I always forget John Paul Jones. And then as soon as I see it, it's like, oh fuck, that's right, John Paul Jones. That's who it is.
John Paul Jones is like the normalest name out of all of them.
2 out of the 4 Beatles for sure.
Okay, yes, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck we are now, but yeah, like theatrics, I guess, or their stage presence or stage act.
Yeah, so the guitarist the first time came out and was playing with the bow on the guitar. And at first I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then it went on for a long time.
Yep.
And he was touching some people in the crowd that was kind of awkward, like grabbing a lady's hand to like play the chords and stuff. Maybe he knew who she was. But in my mind, I'm like, if somebody just started touching me, I wouldn't.
Yeah, he
did.
Be okay. He walked up. She was off to the side, and he like grabbed her hand and put it on the neck of the guitar and moved it up and down as he's doing the bow thing.
Yeah.
Zeppelin's been known to be like very sexual. At least back in the day, they were.
So like none of them wore shirts.
Yes, I think so. It was also like the 60s and 70s, right?
It was. I thought about the 70s when they came out with no shirts on. I was just like, I don't need to see that.
They are an older group for sure. The bassist and the drummer, not so much, but the lead singer and the guitarist are
which is fine.
Older,
I mean, old people can do whatever they want in their own homes.
I mean, sure. It did feel very weird to see like these shirtless older men
with pants that barely come up their
like. Sure, I
groins.
Get that you're a tribute band and you're trying to like mimic what they wore, how they wore, like what Zeppelin would have looked like and whatnot. But it's like, no, A, you don't look like that. And B, if they were still a band today, I almost guarantee you they would not be wearing that shit.
No.
I mean, Kiss did.
Yeah, I guess Kiss did. Yeah, I was just thinking of like the 2017 open air. Like, I'm like, I don't need to see that either. Yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, if you think of like some of the metal bands from the 80s who would perform without shirts on and stuff, now they're just like, they just wear regular clothes.
They wear regular clothes, right? They wear their shirt and their jeans and whatnot. You don't see Motley Crue out there wearing their skin tight spandex anymore. Right. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen them in many years.
True. So they could have on their last tour.
They could have for sure.
Anyways.
But go ahead and continue.
Oh, no, you were going into like the whole Led Zeppelin was very sexual and all that stuff, and cool. Times have changed. That's all I want to say. I mean, times shouldn't have changed. I mean, sorry, that's the wrong way to say that. Things shouldn't have been that way in the 70s either. But it's like, just don't touch people, without consent, even if it's just their hand or pulling them closer to you or something.
But like even the whole like moving the hand up and down the guitar neck was like, it's very suggestive, and
that's what I'm saying. Like, don't do things that.
All right, I get that from maybe like. That's what they did in the 70s, but I get what you're saying as well, for sure. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily appropriate anymore or kind of cool. It was a little cringy for sure. And it's just like, what the fuck are we doing here? Why?
Yeah.
Is it just to show you that, like, hey, it doesn't matter where you put your hand on the neck and I'm just doing the bow and that's what's really impressive is the bow aspect? But honestly, talking about like the way they dressed, because they all had wigs on, you were saying. I didn't even notice the wigs.
I don't think the guitarist had a wig. I think his hair was natural, but everybody else had a wig on.
I didn't notice that. I just thought it was really weird looking hair. I just thought it was their hair and it's like, that's kind of funky. But I didn't think it was a wig at all. So
yeah.
All right. I'm really bad with that anyway. Like, my grandpa used to have a toupee and I had no idea for the longest time until somebody told me. And it's like, well, one, that's my grandfather, and two, I didn't know that was a toupee, so I didn't know it was bad. I just thought that was his hair. So I'm really bad at that shit. But like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, cool, you're putting a lot of effort into looking like the band, and I know that's a big thing, especially with tribute bands, is like, hey, we want to put on a performance that the band would have put on. Like, we're paying a tribute to the band. But the biggest part for the tribute for me is you need to sound like the band.
Yeah.
And so much of it just did not sound good. And not that it didn't sound good. There were parts that sounded really, really good. And then there were parts where, and I think especially as the evening went on, like the guitar solos, they were just they were very messy and choppy and not that good.
I don't know the music very well for Led Zeppelin. Like I know a few songs, but definitely not like guitar solo parts and stuff like that. But like you could, I'm going to say transition, but you can tell the transition between the solo and the melody and stuff in it.
Yeah, and even in the solo where it's like certain bits of the solo where he'd do the first part right, and then as it transitions into the next part of the solo, it was very like abrupt and very sharp and not as crisp and clean as you would expect for like a Zeppelin. And as we were leaving, I was like, it's cool that they looked like it. I wish they would have put more effort in sounding like them instead of this shit. And I was honestly, by the end of the evening, I was just getting very frustrated with it more than anything. And honestly, the guitar player more than anything, because he also did this weird fucking pick thing where he'd like put a pick on the back of his hand and then throw it up and then catch it.
Yeah.
And be like, oh.
And not just once.
All fucking night.
All night for 2 hours.
And it's like, is that something Jimmy Page did or does when he plays? And like, or he did it once? Like, what the fuck is going on with this? It was funny at first, but then it just kept going on. It's like, cool. All right. Cool. All right. You fucked up the solo, but cool. You caught the pick.
One time I didn't catch it, I don't think.
He had to drop it once.
Yeah, he had to like grab it.
Yeah.
Which is whatever. Like I wouldn't be able to probably catch a pick either if I did it. But
no. The drum solo was super awesome.
That was really cool.
I loved that. It was
so cool.
Good.
I just wish everybody would have shut the fuck up during it.
Yeah.
Like everybody all night. I mean,
it was a very chatty crowd for sure.
Yeah, it was a bad start to 2025 with our whole hopes that people would shut the fuck up. But yeah, it was very chatty during the. And I like drum solos, way better than a guitar solo. And it was kind of disappointing how people weren't paying attention.
Yeah, it felt very Zeppelin-esque too.
Did
like
it?
All the bits were like I could pick out that from that particular song, the like little bongo sort of sounding bit.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he was using a bongo. I think it was just sort of.
No, it was the snare. Yeah,
just the snare drum he was hitting on. It was like. I did not know you can make a snare sound like a bongo just by using your hand and slightly tapping.
Like, well, I mean, I was trying to watch him very closely while he was doing that because I was like trying to figure it out too. But I think he was like holding it with one hand so it like gives pressure so it doesn't give that snare sound, and then like tapping it with his other hand.
But every time I heard that beforehand, I mean, again, I've never seen Zeppelin live because obviously I've never seen them live.
You haven't?
They do have some live recordings that I've actually never watched for some reason. I don't know
Maybe
why.
You should.
But I always assumed when I hear that song, I was like, that's bongos they're beating on. Like, that's super fucking cool to bring that in. I didn't realize, again, that you could just make that sound from the drums you have up there. Because he's even doing it to the tom drum a little bit too.
Yes, yeah.
So that was really cool. I loved the drum solo. The bassist was good. I really enjoyed the bassist. There was one song, I can't remember what it was. I think I can't remember the song. But the bassist stopped playing bass and he's on the keyboards, playing the keyboard. But there's a bass backtrack that's going on. And then in the middle or toward the end, he gets up and goes and picks up the bass again and starts playing the bass. And you have the backing bass track and his bass track both at the same time. And it wasn't just perfectly lined up and it sounded super fucking weird. I did not like that at all. But the keyboard was still going as well. So he just like on a loop, I'm assuming, and
probably
played that.
Yeah. I did notice that they were using loops a lot.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, whatever. You do you.
So, all right, I'll finish my thought real quick.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were
But then they did like a whole sort of hard transition that like that bit stopped, everybody stopped, and then went straight into the next song.
Oh, okay.
That I really enjoyed. That was a cool transition thing of just like a hard stop into the next song. But when the bassist was up there hitting the bass and with the backing track, just trying to get in tune, I think, and get ready for that hard stop, it felt very weird. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I was not happy about that either. Loops, though, real quick. I've told you we need to do this sometime when we will eventually, whenever we get to it. Maybe here in a few months when it's cold, but go back down to Reggies. I think on Monday nights they do like open mic night sort of thing where people show up.
Yeah.
One guy came in the one time I went and had a loop machine and played an entire song. He'd play like a riff, loop that, play another riff, loop that, and he did like 4 or 5 riffs. And then as he was doing it, you could hear the song build, build, build. I was like, that's really fucking cool.
That is really cool. Yeah.
He even took like the back of his acoustic guitar and started beating it for like the drums. And it's like, oh, that's super fucking cool. How you can do that.
Like a really, that would be really cool to see. And then also I remember being in Ireland the first night you got there at Dublin at the hotel, and the guy that was playing in the bar, he had like a loop
he did the same
that
thing.
He would do,
Yeah.
Which was really, really cool. Like, And I'm not saying like anything about, I'm sure a lot of bands use loops and you just don't hear it as prevalently as this. Like I could tell when the guitarist had a loop going.
Yeah, and you even said it sometimes felt like more of a backing track even than just the loop as well.
Yeah.
So
and it could have been. I'm only saying loop because I would see him like step on the floor.
Oh,
and
all right.
the 2 times I've seen guitarists use those like at the bar near us and then again in Dublin, it was like the machine would be on the floor, so they would like step and loop it. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like bands could use them constantly, and it's just not picked up as easily as it was this night.
Yeah. And back to like the other negatives for me, the solo at the end of Stairway to Heaven was just not good. Like I didn't even know
that song was Stairway to Heaven. It didn't sound like it, and I didn't pick up on it, and I was just like, this isn't good.
I picked up on it at the beginning because it's like, oh, all right, this is Stairway to Heaven, this is awesome. And then the guitar solo came in, and that did not sound like Stairway to me. That sounded like his own sort of like, I'm just going to go and have fun with it. And it sounded not great. And I was like, fuck this. And again, as the evening went on, I would pick up on more and more of this stuff, and the crowd chatter as well, I'd pick up on that. And I was just like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm not having fun. We're going to stay to the end. This is not cool. I'm not having fun with this.
You're such a stay to the end person.
I am, yeah.
Where I'm the opposite, where I'm like, if I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, let's just go.
I don't know. I was not having a good time, and we probably could have left and I would have missed anything. Obviously, I don't know. But yeah, we stayed to the end. Other things about the show that I can think of. It did feel very, as we were walking home, I was talking to you and I was like, this felt very much like the lead guitar player's band. Yeah. Because he did basically all the crowd talking. He felt very much like, I'm the center of attention. Let me be in the center and bouncing around and whatnot. And yeah, his movements on stage, the little flippy thing with the pick and the guitar solos, I was just like, I'm not having this. This is not good. And as I said, it felt like it got worse and worse as the evening went on. So I don't know if he was just getting tired and messing up because he's been doing this for a long time. And they didn't take an intermission like I thought they did. Yeah. But during that drum solo, everybody left, took a little break. Yeah. There was a costume change for the lead guitar player. The guitarist, yeah. When they came out and did their Kashmir, when they played Kashmir, the song they're named after, the Robert Plant dude, the lead singer, came back in like a cashmere little. Oh yeah, like the little robe thing. Yeah, robe. Yeah. So I don't know. We were walking home and talking about it. And I was like, I did not enjoy this. This was not fun. But then we're like, it was $15. Yeah, I think that's the big thing. $15. We were out of the house, and it wasn't honestly horrible. It just wasn't Zeppelin. Yeah, I think I didn't feel, even though I picked up on a few things that was driving me nuts. One, not a Zeppelin fan. But two, I just kept thinking it's a tribute band. Like, now if we saw the real Zeppelin and they performed like that, I'd be like, fuck that. Yeah. Like, that's horrible. But I don't know. I get where you're coming from, because we've seen some really good tribute bands, and then we've seen some very poor tribute bands. Yeah, we saw Kashmir, and I'd say they're the second best Zeppelin tribute band out there. The first best obviously being Greta Van Fleet. They fucking crush Zeppelin so hard. Like, they're so good at being Zeppelin. Fuck that Greta Van Fleet. I like Greta Van Fleet a lot. It's just so blatant that it's a fucking Zeppelin ripoff. Yeah. But it sounds so good because it sounds just like fucking Zeppelin does. And I love it. But it's like, I hate their like performance and their persona on stage. But they're doing what Zeppelin did in the 70s. They're doing exactly what these guys did, but better, because they're younger kids, and I don't think it's because they're younger. Maybe I just wouldn't be a fan of Zeppelin if I was in the 70s. Maybe you would. Maybe I would. You're not having hard metal back then. Yeah. You get Zeppelin. This would be the hard metal rock. You get Zeppelin, you get Judas Priest, and you get Iron Maiden, and you get Sabbath, or what you're getting. So, and AC/DC. So you probably would like Zeppelin back then. Probably. Any case, we also did have that conversation on the way home about I was like, I don't know if I'm a big fan of tribute bands anymore.
Yeah.
Like we have seen good ones. We've mentioned Clash of the Titans. I really love what they do and how they do it.
And then what was his name?
Wonkzilla.
Yeah.
The Hybrid Theory. We saw
Hybrid Theory.
Oh my
God, they are so good. It was, I mean, when we saw Hybrid Theory in 2023, like
Is it Hybrid Theory or the Hybrid Theory? I can't remember what one they are. There's two of them, but they were
Hybrid Theory from Minnesota. Yeah, they're the ones from Minnesota. But they never seen Linkin Park, so seeing them, I was just like, oh my gosh, it was like being at a Linkin Park show, which I have nothing to compare it to, but they were awesome.
I thought they were fine. I didn't think they were great. I haven't seen too many outstanding tribute bands, but the whole point was like, as we were walking home, it's like, I don't know if I necessarily want to see just a tribute band. I want you to go up there and play the music good.
That's true.
Like, I don't care if you look like them. I don't care if I get the same stage performance as the band. I don't care if you have the same equipment as the band. I don't care if, like, we've seen tribute bands where it's all female, like the Black Sabbath band, Sabbatha.
Yeah. And I was really hard on Sabbatha, but that was like early on in the podcast. I think if I saw them again, I think I wouldn't be so hard on them.
But there was also that super old lady.
Super old. She's probably only like 20 years older than you.
Probably. So I'm old. I'm old, not quite. She's older than, I don't mean that disrespectfully. But no, she was up there and she fucking killed
how
on the
she
guitar.
shredded that guitar. It was awesome.
Yeah. So, like, they have fucking skills. And, like, I don't care if you look like the band or sound just like the band. Just play the music. I'm here for the music, and if you can play the music, that's fucking awesome.
I was thinking of a band that does really good a tribute that we saw was Sad in Spain. They're from Italy, and I think that they do a good mix on the whole persona of Metallica as well as playing very, very well. Like, but the persona's not huge.
Yeah.
He has some
the facial
like features, and like he tries to be like James, and then the guitarist has like the purple guitar and like the shoes and like, you know, like little teeny tiny things, but that,
again, that's where I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care if you have Kurt's guitar and you're playing his solo the exact same way I do care about that.
Yes.
Play the solo the way he would play it, but I don't care if you have the same equipment. I don't care if you have the same shoes or whatnot. It's like, the shoes don't fucking make the performance. Your ability to play the fucking instrument is what's important.
Yeah. But they played really, really well as well.
But then again, like I said, we've been to a few tribute bands like Thrash of the Titans, and not just because they're our friends or anything, but like they actually do put on a really good performance.
Yeah.
I think the music is the most important thing to them. At least it comes off that way to me. And then the aesthetics is sort of the secondary aspect of it.
And I think for Thrash of the Titans, they do really care a lot about the performance of the music, because like I've even heard, like they've said like, oh, we want to do this song, but we can't get this part.
We were talking to Jerry.
Not that they can't get it. They can't get it to perfection, and they only want to play things that they're
The first time we saw them, we were talking to Jerry ahead of time, and he's like, yeah, we really want to play Battery. We're learning that, but we're not quite there yet. We're almost there. We haven't nailed it yet. And the very next time we saw them, they brought Battery out. And it's like, fuck yes, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So like that's important. Like, hey, you know, our transition on this guitar solo isn't quite there. Let's get that fine tuned and honed in, and then go. So I guess final thoughts. The main thing I was trying to get at is like with the time earlier as well is that by the end of the evening, it was just sort of going on and on and on, and I was finding little things I was nitpicking and not liking. And it's like, and you started 30 fucking minutes late. What the fuck, assholes?
I actually had that too when it became like 10:15 and they were still playing. I was like, you could have been done by now.
Yeah. I could have been, I could have left, but no, I'm not going to leave. But this could have been over if you just would have been up here on time.
That's horrible to say, but it was kind of like one of those nights where I was done too, and I could tell you were done, and both of us were just kind of like standing there waiting for it to get over. So
I did want to stay to the end just to see what it was all about. I don't know. I've said it already. It wasn't the greatest evening, but for $15, it really wasn't that bad either. But then again, 2 years ago, for $10 more, we got to see Guns N' Roses. So
that's true.
But it was hot as fuck.
It was, but it was a $25 ticket.
So cheap show. I mean, it's a cheap show. It was fun. I still had fun that night. I didn't have a blast, but I had a fun night. I really did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wraps up our first cheap show of the weekend. The very next night, as we said earlier, we went to Livewire Lounge.
Yes.
Our first time being there.
Yep. It's on Milwaukee. It's like 3,300 North Milwaukee or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It was cold as fuck.
It was. For us, it's very inconvenient to get there.
So I was thinking about that. I don't know if it is all that inconvenient. We took a much more inconvenient route to get there, I think.
Okay.
Because we also went to Kuma's first. But even if
Kuma's
we didn't
Corner.
go to Kuma's, we could have done a better route because we went to the Red Line, Belmont stop, then hopped on the Belmont bus, took that over to Kuma's, then hopped on the Belmont bus again and took that over to whatever stop it is. And then it was like a 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk.
Oh, no, it's 3 blocks or 4 blocks. Yeah.
Up to a Livewire. So not that bad. But the Blue Line is like a 10-minute walk from, so like the Blue Line is here. You can walk 10 minutes east and get to Kuma's, or you could walk about 10 minutes west and get to where the bus dropped off. So I think if we would have gone to the Blue Line, it's not that bad of a walk.
Oh, we should have done that then.
I think that would have been better. And then we could have still gone up there, hit up that, gone over to Kuma's to get dinner, and then boom, back.
Yeah.
So I think our route we took was much more inconvenient than we could have made it.
No, I want to go back. So I'm glad that you kind of looked at it a little bit differently than the route we took. Because
although with that said, it's cold.
It was really fucking cold.
Even that sort of 30-minute walk is still a pain in the ass when it's cold and snowing and whatnot.
Yeah. Because I know from Kuma's to the venue, it was 36-minute walk.
It's about a 10-minute walk to the train from Kuma's.
Okay, so that must be 25 minutes from the train to the venue.
Yeah, that's not that bad of a walk,
It's not, but when it's
negative cold,
20,000 degrees, it's cold. No, it wasn't that bad. It was like 10.
Or when it's 110 degrees.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
you got to think both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the venue too. It's just a fucking bar.
Yeah.
Like a few notches up from a dive bar, I would say. The ground's not sticky. The stools aren't
That's
all
true.
broken.
It didn't smell like stale beer.
Yes.
And there was only a minimal amount of pee on the floor in the bathroom.
You went to the women's bathroom, right?
Yeah.
But
men were using it all night. So
I ended up using the women's bathroom at the end of the night because it was the only one open, and men were going in and out all night. Yeah. The women's bathroom was so much nicer than the men's bathroom.
Really?
It was immaculate compared to the men's.
Okay, this isn't a bathroom podcast, but I saw some guys go in there during the night because we were like sitting at the bar area, and like I saw some guys go in there and like not even close the door.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
Oh shit.
So,
I mean, the light was left on most of the night with that door open for sure.
Yeah. But it's not like a stand-up urinal that you just like walk up to.
So yeah, other than the bathrooms, and they were in a weird spot also because it was on stage right, like right next to the stage.
Yeah, and you had to walk through the crowd to get there. I did that once, and it was kind of weird because I don't like to fight through the crowd to get like as close to the stage. Did you get in the pit?
I did. I walked through the pit to get out back to the seat afterwards.
I saw that, and I was like, "You're gonna get smashed."
I just walked straight through, and some guy like high-fived me as I was doing it or something. I don't know. Like, it's like I'm going back to get another beer. Like I just needed to pee, and then I'm going to get another beer. I'm not up here for this. But that was kind of weird to like fight through the crowd to get to the bathroom. But everybody sort of, once they knew you were going to the bathroom, like, all right, go ahead, get up here.
Yeah, like it's not like the venue is very, very small. Like you could maybe hold like 50 people.
I don't know. I didn't see a sign, but it's a very standard Chicago
it's like
narrow long bar.
So it's like a normal bar, and then they just put a stage at the back of it. So it's not. At first, when I walked in, I was like, "Oh, this is a lot like Beat Kitchen," but Beat Kitchen is you have the bar area, and then you have a whole venue.
There's like a door that separates the restaurant bar from the venue area.
This would be like Beat Kitchen with where the stairway and the door to the venue is. That's where the stage is. Yeah,
a small little sound booth behind the bar, or not behind the bar, but across from the bar in the back of the little floor area. Which also I think doubles as a DJ booth.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
A couple tables out there on the floor in front of that for people to sit if they wanted, but a more open area for the mosh pit to happen.
I wonder if when they don't have shows, if those tables are more pulled out into the area.
Be,
probably.
Or even more of them or something.
Maybe more of them, yeah.
The bar's pretty long and narrow. We sat at the bar most of the night. There's some pinball machines as well and a couple arcade games, at least one arcade game. And they had sort of red walls with this faux leather sort of padding up on the wall that you can sort of, I guess, acts as more of a sound.
Oh, that's what I thought
probably.
it was. It's like a sound barrier, but they made it look really good. To go with the venue.
Not super metally looking, other than a few metal decor items here and there on the walls and behind the bar.
And the skull lights hanging from the.
Oh, because it was like Christmas, I think.
Well, they had a whole bunch of Christmas lights and stuff, but then they had like a string of
the
skull
Halloween
ones.
skull ones. Yeah, I remember those, like the sugar skulls and whatnot. They had a mystery shot. You roll a dice, and whatever D6 you land on, you get the shot that's corresponding with that in a burlap sack.
D6 means there's 6 sides to a dice for those who are not
a 6-sided die. A D20 is a 20-sided die.
Yeah.
In any case,
what shot did you get?
I think it was Kahlua. I got number 4. It was Kahlua. She pulled it down, like twisted it, and it cracked open. So it was the first one to get number 4, apparently. At least of that bottle. So I don't know. It was fun. I enjoy the mystery things. I like the spinny wheel things. So I'm always game for that. We went to a bar in Milwaukee, the baseball brewery, and they now have a spinny thing. So I did that, and that was a lot of fun. I think I struck out and didn't win shit. So
yeah, you struck out.
Whatever.
You got like fun. A free spin or something.
Free spin, yeah, basically.
And then you struck out.
But yeah, it's a pretty standard bar, really.
Yeah.
Like again, I think it's a couple steps up from a dive bar. Pretty close to that dive bar-esque, which I really love. So I felt right at home here. I really love this place a lot.
I liked it, and I'm not a bar person, but I really liked the vibe, and I liked being there. So I thought it was kind of cool.
But yeah, we found out about this because of Wraith. You found, or one of us, we don't know who, or can't remember who, but one of us found, or both of us probably at the same time, found a post from Wraith.
Like the announcement from Wraith.
Yeah, and that's sort of how we found out about this to go. $15 cover charge, cash only. Oh, that's one thing to mention. The bar is cash only as well.
I was going to say that, yeah.
All right, so yeah, that's the bar, the cash only, and there sort of description of it.
Yeah, there is an ATM there if needed, but because the flyer did say cash only.
I thought that was just door though.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, is that it was just cash only at the door. I was like, oh, that makes sense for a cover, like to have cash only, but the whole bar is cash only.
But yeah, when we walked in to pay the cover, we paid the cover. Showed our IDs. I can't remember. Whatever. We got in somehow.
I showed my ID. You tried to give your ID, and he's like, "You're good."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
"Okay, whatever."
You're old.
Yeah, but then we paid the cover, and he asked us, "What band are you here to see?"
Yeah.
I was a little bit taken aback by that. I was like, I'm here to see all the bands. What do you mean? What band?
Live music for $15.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Yeah. So I said like, oh, Wraith, like, because in my mind I'm like, that's who we found out about this from. But yeah, we should have just been like, it's $15 for music.
Right.
So,
exactly. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Let's show up.
On the flyer, it also said that after the bands played, there's going to be a live DJ, I think till like 1 a.m. or something like that.
Till close.
Oh, okay.
So is that 2 a.m. last call?
I don't know what it is here. I think it varies bar to bar.
2, 4.
Yeah.
All night.
With raffle as well.
Yeah.
So we stuck around for the raffle afterwards. It was every drink you bought, you got one, unless you're locals and go
then
a lot.
You got
probably
like,
get like
5 or 6. Yeah, and one of the tickets was for the Trouble Mother of Graves show at Cobra.
That we might go to, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see about going to that one.
Spoiler, we did not win the raffle.
We did not.
But we also did not stay another 30 to 45 minutes to hear the next raffle number, so.
But that was kind of cool, just hanging out.
Yeah.
A lot of people hung out for that bit as well.
Yeah.
But
because we have been to, like, I'm going to say, it would be a bar show, but we went to Tailgaters in Cedar Rapids, Iowa for Thrash of the Titans to play, and that was a free show because I think it was just get people in to buy beer and stuff. But like after Thrash was done, like it was done. Like,
it was pretty late that night.
It was late, yeah. I guess because they didn't go on until like 11.
But that was also like a Saturday night, so
it was, yeah.
But it was like 1:30 on a Saturday night.
Was
maybe.
It by the time they got done?
Maybe 1. I can't remember what time.
Yeah,
it was pretty late.
But basically, it was like this was a little bit different than that experience. That's all I was getting to, is that people did stick around. So. Yeah,
this doors were 7. No, the show was 7. Doors at 6, and we showed up like right at 7.
But I wonder with the bar, like, do they not open till 6 then?
No, they probably open most of the day.
Yeah,
especially on like a
probably
Sunday.
The cover starts at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because we've been at some places too that they're like, if you stay past 7 o'clock, like you have to pay the cover.
Yep.
So,
getting into the bands, I guess, real quick. We haven't mentioned any of that.
We haven't. No.
It was Wraith at the top of the bill, then Traitor afterwards.
Yeah,
and
from
then
Philly.
From Philly, yep. And then Chemical Dependency from St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah. All thrash metal.
All thrash metal. Let's start with Chemical Dependency. Young kids from St. Louis. Super cool. I like their sound.
I like them a lot. I liked them the most.
Me too. They were my favorite band out of the three of them.
Yeah. Like when the second band started, I was like, okay, you're good, but can they come back on?
I thought the same thing, honestly, because I was like, they had such great sound, like the mixing of like the bass and the drums, like weaving in and out during different parts. It was really, really good. Where Traitor and Wraith, I thought were good as well, very good thrash, but it did sound sort of, I don't want to say generic, but it sounded nothing new, nothing I haven't already heard.
Yeah.
Where Chemical Dependency it sounded fresh, and something about it just sounded like something
like putting a little spin on thrash. Yeah.
I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure there's shit out there that I've heard that's like it, or that they're pulling from as well. But like, it's not the kind of stuff I hear that often when I hear of like thrash and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I did like that sort of little twist or nuance to it.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of when we were in Dublin, Ireland, and saw Evil. With, I think it was Psychosis. Is that the other thrash band? The Young Kids.
This is why we take notes.
Yeah. So we looked it up. I think it's Tortured Demon was like the younger kids.
I honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I can't remember if it was Psychosis or Tortured Demon.
Yeah.
They're both
super good. But I feel like Tortured Demon, or whichever one it is, has the same concept of what you're talking about with Chemical Dependency, where it's thrash metal or thrash music, but then it has like this different take on it. And I think having the younger people, I mean, they're younger than us, so definitely. But like the younger crowd coming in and playing this music, it's like they can put a little bit different in it, where it's not like the same guys who listen to 80s thrash or early 90s thrash. So, I mean, they listen to it, obviously, but like it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I love their set so much. It was really, really good. I was super happy with it, for sure. And then when they announced they're from St. Louis, like, oh, that's not that bad of a drive up. We've done that drive before.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you came.
Like, I think they went to Detroit the night before. Like, I think they did like 5 cities over since like the new year. So like,
yeah, I was wondering that because when the next band Traitor came up, they announced that they were from Philly. And I had honestly thought all 3 of these bands were from Chicago.
I did
Wraith
too.
is from Chicago, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah. They're the local guys. Because even Livewire Lounge even shared like a Instagram thing of like, local boys are killing it, or, like our boys are killing it sort of thing. So
yeah, so I just assumed all 3 of them were. So when Chemical Dependency was like, we're from St. Louis, like, oh, that's not that bad. And then when Traitor came up and they're like, we're from Philly, I was like, Philly's a long way to drive. Are you guys like on a little mini tour or something? What's going on with like, you wouldn't just come out for this one show.
Right.
Like this tiny ass bar show. You wouldn't do that. Like you can't be making that much money off this, can you? So I had wondered if they did like not a big tour, but like a bigger tour with more stops. Yeah, it makes more sense to do that, honestly, to me.
I wonder how. This is where I want like to get into like, not how much bands are making. I don't care about that, but like, how do band like, kind of like this? Like, if they went to 5 cities, like, do they get a percentage of beer sales? Do they get a percentage of the door? Like, I just wonder how it all works.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like, I don't need figures. You don't have to tell me, oh, I got $250 to pay here, $1,000 here, whatever. I just want to know like how it works. Because
I know the larger bands like Lamb of God, for instance, when they go to a show or a city or play a show or whatnot, we get paid $10,000 a show to play. I'm just pulling a number out of my ass here. Yeah,
just a number.
So you do 20 shows, that's $200,000 that you make.
Yeah.
10,000 times 20. There we go.
Math.
For them to be there, and it's up to the promoter then to sell tickets and beer sales and all of that to recoup the investment of that $200,000.
Right. Yeah.
Where this is a little different, where it's like, I wonder if they're calling up venues and like, hey, can we play at your place? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I don't know. Like, because I guess even to me thinking like, we talked to our friends in Thrash of the Titans, and it was like for them to play in Rockfest. I think they did Rockfest and then they went down to Missouri and played. Okay. And basically for the weekend they were just breaking even. Like nobody made money. Yeah. It was just a break even of travel costs and
get your name out there. They did have a merch table up as well, so whatever they sold there probably helps with that. But like the money from the venue paying you to come.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's more of like get your name out there, get known, and then hopefully spread the word. And
I mean, we know 2 new bands.
Something.
Yeah, we know 2 new bands now. So
exactly,
if we see their name on anything, it'll be like, oh, we remember them, or like, let's go see this or whatever.
Well, maybe because the thing with Wraith that we've been talking about is, I always keep asking you like, have we seen them? I'm pretty sure we saw them, right? We saw them, and you're like, yes, we saw them every time. It was
you don't remember them now?
I don't know.
Oh, like even when the vocalist got up there, I was like, yes, I remember him. Like
it was at the Sound Growler birthday party.
Yep, 2023.
I think so. It was the 6th anniversary for Sound Growler.
Okay.
I know it was the 6th. I just don't know if that was 2020. I'm pretty sure it was 2023.
Okay.
I think we did a show on that even.
Probably.
So yeah, that's probably.
I mean, how many episodes do we have? Like 100?
Something like that. A little over. Anywho. But no, I don't remember them there. I kind of remember a thrash band, but I remember the clutch sounding band, which was Chokesetter. I remember a band before them. I can't remember exactly who they were, but I remember liking them. I remember liking Wraith, and then Bongzilla, and I remember loving Bongzilla.
Yeah.
And it rained that night, and I drank a few beers that night.
Maybe that's why you don't remember.
Maybe that might not be what I remember, but yeah, they were fun. And again, like, I don't know, I had fun at this show. I don't necessarily remember a whole lot about Wraith's particular show.
Yeah.
Other than they put on a good show, and I really liked it. I did like the sound. Again, like I liked Traitor sound. We didn't really talk much about them, but I liked their sound as well. Wraith sound I liked a lot too. Very thrashy, old school thrash, which I fucking loved. But for me, Chemical Dependency stole the show. Like, these guys are fucking awesome.
I can't remember what the Wraith song is. It's like Devil's Hell, Devil's Hour is the song. Sorry, I had to look it up. It's on the Absolute Power album that they have. But when they played that last night, I remember, like, I don't know if I remember that from the show or like I did listen to them recently on Spotify as well. Okay. But I was like, it's one of those things like when you hear it, it's like, oh shit, like I know this.
That was like a standout song for you. Like things are starting to click.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, but like when I heard it last night, it immediately took me back to Sound Growler. So I'm like, maybe I remember this from Sound Growler, like one of those things. So yeah.
I don't know.
But for $15.
Yeah, for
that's
15,
the whole point of this episode.
So, yeah, for $15, it was awesome. And I mean, compared to Kashmir, all the bands fucking crushed. Yeah. Compared to Kashmir, like I would watch these guys again. I wish it was 2 nights in a row, and I would have gone twice.
Right.
So if they were at Reggies the previous night, sure, I'll go down there and check that out, and then we'll go up to Livewire and check that out.
I enjoyed this show a lot more than Kashmir as well.
Yep.
And I was kind of disappointed that we're not closer to Livewire Lounge because I liked the environment. I liked being able to just, and I sat the whole time. Like you don't have to, you don't have to sit. Like you can get up and be near the stage and stuff. But I was like, if we were closer to this for $15, I would be very happy once a week or once a month, maybe, because $15 once a week kind of adds up quickly. But just go for a night and like hang out, see some bands. Like who cares if we know who they are or not, and just enjoy the show.
Yeah, and the flyer kind of alluded to it for the Instagram post by the flyer. That's what I mean. That this is the kickoff of Metal Sundays up there, and it sounds like they're going to try to do metal things every Sunday.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if it's just going to be like the DJ playing. I don't think it's going to be a band every Sunday.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know, honestly. Their website's not necessarily the greatest, but again, it's a bar. Like bars don't typically necessarily have websites. The ones that have kitchens do, because that's where you find their menus.
Yeah. So then they put a little bit more into it. But
this is a dingy, dive-ish bar, which is, not going to have a fucking website. Yeah. What do you expect? They don't accept credit cards. So, like, why are they going to have a website?
But start, like, with Instagram and stuff, like, they do post to everyone's. I mean, they posted
do they?
A video from last night's show on Instagram. So I'm like, well, maybe they'll start. Well, like, we're following them now. I don't know why we haven't been following them before.
We didn't know about it. I didn't know about it.
Livewire Lounge? Yeah. Oh, I've heard about it, like, maybe over a year ago. Like, I didn't know where it was, and I didn't know what shows were there.
Seeing the flyer for this show was the first time I'd heard of that place. Okay. I was like, I've never heard of this.
There was somebody there, like a year ago or a year and a half ago or something, that was like, oh, and that's how I found out about it. It's like they were going to play there, and then I'm like, well, we couldn't go. So I kind of like wrote it off, sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Sorry, that was really bad because I can't remember who it was.
In any case, yeah, 2 shows, 2 nights, $15 each. Both fun in their own right.
Yeah.
One for us a little more fun than the other one.
But if you can only go to one show, a tribute band show would be better than no show.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I mean, we've been talking about going to smaller shows and smaller venues like this all the time. So this is sort of our first sort of dipping our toe into it. Not our first. We've done other ones.
We've done other ones, but this is the first
back to back,
and just kind of we've never paid cash at the door. I don't think we've always bought tickets ahead of time.
So. Yeah.
So I mean,
we never carried cash. So
that was. Well, now we know though, if we ever go there to take cash.
Yeah.
Metro in Chicago is also cash only bar.
Is it though?
Yeah, it is.
I think it is. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember if that is.
It is, because I remember taking out cash last time we were there to see Arcspire. Because I said it's cash only, and you're like, no, I don't think so. And when we got there, I had to take cash out.
I still don't think so, but we'll see next time we go there.
So
I'm wrong.
Carry a little bit of cash with you.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, in any case, live music, it's fucking awesome. You can find cheap shows out there. You just gotta look for them a little bit.
Yeah, they're not widely advertised as much.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder. You got to put a little bit of effort into it, and you'll have a great time anyway. So, go check out some music. We'll catch you at the next show.
Bye.